Shares in Dollarama up around 8%, profit topping expectations. Let's get more on this and other market movers. We're joined by Bloomberg's Stephanie Hughes. Stephanie.
Hey, Andy. Yeah, that's right. So Dollarama is up as much as 8.4% today. That was the biggest intraday gain since April, and it put it among the top performers on the TSX today. Like you alluded to, this was because the earnings of $1.02 per share came ahead of what analysts were expecting, and it also beat on other metrics like same-store sales, adjusted EBITDA, you name it. The results also prompted an upgrade from TD Cowen's Brian Morrison, who raised it to a buy rating, pointing to the results and the fact that the company maintained its 2025 guidance, which was significant. The analysts added also that the team had an increased comfort that the discount retailer can sustain its same-store sales growth within its target range as it laps outsized growth. Even more simply than that, Dollarama and other discount retailers tend to be more resilient in an environment where consumers are restricting on spending because they tend to go to these retailers as a lower-cost alternative for food and other necessities. Or if you're like me, you just fill up your basket with a bunch of cheap Halloween decorations and call it a day. But in any case, they're getting sales, Andy.
That's right. Energy fuels, uranium stock. We have seen buyers of uranium generally today.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of uranium names moving up. With energy fuels, it's got a few things working in its favor. So shares are up as much as 9%. The uranium miner said it would be preparing to restart its uranium project in Wyoming, the Nichols Ranch project, and expects that production can begin as early as next July. Energy fuels is also rising in tandem with other uranium names this morning after Russian President Vladimir Putin asked the government to consider limiting exports of nuclear fuels in response to Western sanctions. So other uranium names moving up today include Cameco and Denison Mines, what have you. So yeah, a few things working in energy fuels' favor there, Andy.
And the CN Rail diminishing expectations on earnings.
That's right. So shares did slip as much as 2.4% today, which isn't a massive drop, and it did manage to regain some of those losses. But this was largely pegged to the fact that it cut its full-year adjusted earnings guidance. It's now expecting earnings growth in the low single-digit range, whereas it had expected mid to high single-digit growth before. The company pointed to a few factors: the impact of the labor uncertainty and Alberta wildfires, as well as weaker than expected demand in forest products and metals. Quarter to date, they said the impact to earnings per share amounts to about 20 cents. And viewers may recall that it was just last month that the railways were able to restart after the federal government stepped in to try to end the labor dispute. So we're starting to see the company comment more on the impacts here, Andy.
Stephanie, always great to hear from you. Thank you very much indeed. Stephanie Hughes of Bloomberg.